50.5. So I liked a lot of the briefs. I found a lot of the briefs in this lesson were pretty intuitive. I didn't really need to write too many of them out. I did define accord, temperature, finance, newspaper, suspicious, and variety. Those were the briefs at the beginning of the lesson that didn't really, I felt the need to write out. One thing I noticed too in for nutrient, they give it as a 3-stroker, but you can actually write nutrient as a 2-stroker. You would write newt and then rand, whereas in the book it says newt and then re and then ent. But of course, who knows when this book was written, and I know they're always upgrading Phoenix, so you may have discovered that on your own. I had a hard time with the ever briefs. I know with some of them you use the asterisks and the E. For instance, they ever and he ever, but then some of them you don't use the E, like you ever and whatever. But it seems like you don't use the asterisks when it's one word, like however and whenever. So anyway, that's just going to take practice, but you know, at the same time, I think the whole purpose of briefs is that they're supposed to be easy and that it's supposed to come to you quickly. So right now I'm thinking if these are causing me hesitation, then am I going to really use a brief when I'm doing a live dictation? I don't know. One thing I'm starting to learn more about case CAD, and to being in the night class now. There's students that have finished the program that are they're still working on their speed, so they come to class, and that's really helpful because you get a lot of tips. I know identification in the Phoenix, the way to stroke it out, it's the Y, and then it was OEUF. And then the shin on the end. And to me, because it's identify, it makes a lot more sense to me to stroke it out with the long I. So what I've gone is I've just, I checked to make sure that there wasn't a conflict. And so I've de-defined identify and identification so that instead of the start of it being OEUF, it's AOEUF, because that makes sense to me. So that's, I'm starting to feel a bit more comfortable playing around now with de-defining, and or for instance, another one was other. For the life of me, I know the brief is OERT, but because of the th sound, it just makes sense to me to stroke like the G and the T. So what I've done is I've de-defined the brief to be OERGT, because that makes, I guess one way to look at it is if you're stroking words out and you're always stroking it out the wrong way, maybe it would make sense for you to de-define that and make that the way that you stroke it, as long as of course it doesn't conflict with any principles. And one other thing that I did too was I de-defined financing. I know it's TP PBS, but then if you put the G on as a second stroke, it comes out as I think they put an E and then a G. So what I've done is I've de-defined financing. So I take the stroke for finance and then I include the G. So it would be TP PB GS, all as one stroke. So I'm sure that'll come in handy when we're stenoing at a banking trial or something. One last thing, I tried an 80-word speed test and I failed. I was actually a bit frustrated because I did about 7 or 8 of the stenograph dictations and I passed them all, and then I did my speed test and it seemed to me like the speaker was talking a lot faster, which I hear is not uncommon. So anyway, I'm trying not to get too discouraged and I'll just try to practice more, I guess. So anyway, I will see you in 60.1.